Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest football transfer news on the last day of the football financial year. Will it all kick off tomorrow for other clubs? We'll talk about that in a moment, but we've got a bit of a transfer head-to-head going on. Liverpool and Arsenal and potentially Chelsea. Don't know how that works. Maybe even Man United. Don't know why I'm doing that. Ekitike. Arsenal apparently now in for Ekitike. We're also going to be talking about Nico Williams because his move to Barcelona may now not be happening. Does that open the door to a Premier League move? Also, a massive move for Tottenham. They could be looking at a West Ham player as Thomas Frank's big summer signing, and a few other bits to get into as well. As also, I want to know the thoughts of everybody here. What are your thoughts on your transfer window and who do you support? Get in the comments. Let's get the conversation going. But we're going to start off about Hugo Ekitike. Reports coming in from Germany that Arsenal have added him to their striker transfer shortlist. Sport Bild are talking about this in Germany. Arsenal entering the race for Ekitike. Liverpool are already in it. Chelsea were in it and might still be in it. And apparently Man United were there as well. Look, fantastic Eintracht Frankfurt striker. We've seen how successful Mamouche has been from moving there to the Premier League with Manchester City. A very hot talent. A player that certainly will have admirers in the Premier League and is a player that Eintracht Frankfurt will sell at the right price. Liverpool, I would say, are probably the favourites to get him. The talk is that they'll need to move Darwin Núñez on first, which probably shouldn't be that much of an issue for Liverpool, how quickly they've been working and how effectively they've been working in this transfer window so far. But if Arsenal genuinely are in the race, what does that say about Cisse and what does that say about Gyökeres? And would Ekitike be a good signing for Arsenal? Really, when you look at him, a lot of people have looked at him as a potential replacement for Isak if he left Newcastle. A lot of people are saying he'd work well at Liverpool, who are looking at Isak, so he could be the alternative to Isak. So, and Isak is basically, very similar in ways to Thierry Henry. So you could see a player like that working at Arsenal. Goal scorer certainly, but more technical and lots of potential. Is that the right profile of striker for Arsenal, though? I could see Ekitike fitting Arsenal, but I don't know that it's the right sort of striker to go for when this is the year that you've got to go from second to first. I don't think Arsenal are in for Ekitike. I think this is classic Andrea Berta, Director of Football at Arsenal tactics. They want Sesko, Gyökeres. The Gyökeres deal looks really bad now. Because they're head-to-head Sporting and Gyökeres, and it looks like it could go on for quite a while. So does that weaken Arsenal's hand with Sesko, that it looks more obvious that they need Sesko? So do you bring another player in? Because basically what they're trying to do is say we've got alternatives to try and get the price down. Or have they genuinely given up on Gyökeres and now they're bringing Ekitike in? Let us know your thoughts. I certainly think from Arsenal's point of view, if you're landing on Sesko, Ekitike or Gyökeres, they're all very interesting strikers. But I would say Ekitike is probably a little bit more of a work in progress. Is that what Arsenal want? And is he an out-and-out goal scorer as well? They would be the questions I would ask. So I would suspect that Liverpool are probably favourites. But you can't rule out Chelsea. I'm sure I read something this morning from Romano that even though Chelsea have now bought Delap, they've now bought Gittins, and they've now bought Pedro, they're still on the lookout for another attacker. I don't know how that works. I don't know how this works. I don't necessarily agree with the Chelsea transfer strategy of just buying loads and loads of players who are under 23. I still think they should be going for a little bit more experience as well, but let's see. Chelsea probably haven't finished in this transfer window. Let's be very, very clear on that one. I want to talk very, very quickly about Nico Williams. So some breaking news this morning coming out from numerous Barcelona outlets that there could be a little bit of a barrier here. Barcelona have struggled in the last couple of years to register players, certainly with Dani Olmo, and the concern from Nico Williams' side is that they're concerned about that they want guarantees from Barcelona that there won't be any registration issues that could damage his chances of actually playing football for Barcelona. So that is the big story this morning, and there is also talk that his club would rather Bilbao would rather be selling him to someone like Bayern Munich. Does that reopen the door for somebody like Arsenal who desperately do want a winger? Let us know your thoughts on that one. But I think that when we look at this transfer window, I'm also very, very aware that we have got this end of football financial year today. So essentially what happens is you get bit like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day on December the 31st and January the 1st. But in football, it's June the 30th and July the 1st. The relevancy of that is that the financial year ends tonight and a new financial year starts tomorrow, which means that it's a bit like a budget. If your business has a budget and you've spent it all, on July the 1st, you get reset again. So there are people out there that think that certain clubs that have not done anything in June are suddenly going to start doing stuff in July. That may well be the case. It should start to get busy more. I think it should start to get busy more because pre-season starts soon and people are going to be heading off on tours, and then the season starts soon. There's some teams that just haven't done a lot so far. So hopefully we will start to see some activity. Talking of which, Tottenham have been linked to Kudos of West Ham. Now, apparently, there is some... I'm not aware of this, so I'm just going to read it out to you. Apparently, there is some sort of unofficial transfer embargo with West Ham and Spurs, where they've not seen a player move in either direction for 10 years. However, Kudos has been identified as a primary target by Spurs, and they believe they can clinch a deal well below his 85 million release clause that is said to run for the first 10 days of July. Tottenham have shown interest in Burmo, Semenyo and Eze, but it is Kudos who sources believe is currently the most likely to bolster the attacking options of new head coach Thomas Frank. And this is coming in from Matt Law in the Daily Telegraph. So keep your eyes on Spurs. Don't really know. Well, I do really know. Daniel Levy's in charge, so that's what Spurs fans would say. But you have got Champions League football. You are going to get a big cash flow, and it is a new manager. So I would expect. I think Spurs and Newcastle are two teams to keep an eye on because they can't go into next season with the squads they've got. Surely their aim is to be back in the top 5 next season and stay in the Champions League consistently. So you look at what Chelsea are doing, you look at what Liverpool are doing, you look at what Arsenal are doing, you look at what Man City are doing. They were ahead of you anyway, and they're ahead of you in the summer transfer window. So what's the response to that? And I think there's a lot of fans of those clubs waiting to see. But Kudos at West Ham, I don't think really works. I think he's, with all due respect to West Ham, I think he's operating at a better level. And he's obviously Premier League proven now. Whether Spurs is the right option for him, I certainly think if I was him, you look at what Thomas Frank did at Brentford, I think he gets the best out of players, and it would be an exciting signing for Spurs if they can get that done. But look, I think from tomorrow, I expect to see more activity from certain clubs like Villa and Newcastle and Spurs, because the top 4 have laid the gauntlet, really, in relation to the challenge, and I think people need to respond to that if they can. So let's wait and see. Get your comments in below. Arsenal fans, would you be happy with Ekitike? Liverpool fans, is that the striker that you want? Also, do you think Nico Williams could be back on the agenda for Arsenal now? And are we expecting big changes now that the financial year is effectively over and resets tomorrow? Let me know whether you're happy with your team's activity and what you want to see in the next couple of weeks. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.